Hi, everybody. This is Jeffrey at Ripe Color and
Sheila from Celtic Tarot.
and we are here on Tarot Tuesdays to discuss a card in the deck. And what would that card be? See, I do magic. It's the Magician, which is the number one. So the way I'm the producer, I'm the director. So we're going to go through the deck. I'm going to have a new guest every week. And Sheila agreed to be here, and I'm very grateful. So we're going to discuss what we feel about this card, the Magician, the one. And then let me do my little marketing. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, press the bell for notifications. Please become a member of the station. I offer one-on-one readings, and Sheila as well offers one-on-one readings, has an incredible channel. Sheila Celtic Tarot. Anything going on your channel lately that's unusual or exciting or both?
Unusual, strange, unusual. Isn't that my code? Strange and unusual. Well, not much is going on other than me just transferring out of my 40-hour job to do this full time. So there's a lot of preparation and de-preparation that I'm doing, trying to get that done. I just did a video with Adam from Stargazing Astrology.
Cool.
He did an astro thing on DeSantis and also on Elon Musk, and he also talked about the new moon coming up, the new moon and the eclipse of the new moon. So this is one powerful punch that we're definitely getting here pretty soon. And so we talked about that. And then of course I have Danny Shea and Lori from Way of Positive Change. I'm doing a video with them tomorrow. So yeah, there's a lot of things going on, and anything else I can throw in there.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah. And I'm open to making other different kind of programming. So you can send me a private email, jeffrey@ripecolor.com, and we'll see how it goes. Okay. So now you're my guest. So this is Sheila Celtic Tarot. What is your interpretation and your feeling around the Magician?
Oh gosh. Well, the Magician really is a special card, I think. The Magician has the ability, and I have 4 decks here that I have that have the Magician picture on there. I don't know if you can see a few Magician, which is really pretty. And then we also have the Lady Tarot here. So these right here, there's a lot of pictures on the Magician. So the Magician, to me, right off the bat, every time I throw, especially for like a client, if I have a client in front of me and I throw the Magician, what I get the most is that they're powerful. Let them know that they have magic inside of them, and that whatever subject or whatever thought or whatever the subject is that you can definitely get your powers to be and to connect with the divine, because it's like power skills and it's action, it's manifestation, really. Magic, getting all of the elements and all of the thoughts together and throwing it out into the future as the hopes, whatever it is that you need. And it also signifies on the opposite end, like if you're reading for like politically, if I'm reading politically, sometimes the Magician will come out and it's like throwing black magic onto the situation, or using their powers for the wrong when I'm doing that, because it also talks about the cowardiceness, the Magician, like I'm hiding behind magic, and I'm hiding behind my lies and my deceit and the manipulation. So somebody who is also stirring the cauldron and trying to, create an atmosphere of lies and deceit is also part of the Magician. But really, the Magician, when you get in a reading, it really can kind of manifest some potential that you have in your life that you can get together. In every aspect of our lives, we gather either our thoughts or our imagination, or even tools or divination tools, or a candle or a prayer or whatever. We can use that for our magic to manifest what we want in life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For me, the Magician is a really, really profound card because I always feel like the Fool is like pre-incarnation. The Fool is like a soul that hasn't incarnated yet. The Magician is the beginning of the incarnation. So the Magician is the first one who's aware and awake and here on this planet, on this plane, the first one. And it's a one. So a one is really leadership. It's really about leadership. And so there's a story in the Bible about when Moses finally meets God, and it's the burning bush, right? So it's burning and it's not burning and it's burning and it's not burning. So the magician has this sense of mediumship, this sense of being in between this world and heaven. And he's bringing down that energy. You know, that's why the infinity symbol is here, because it's really the understanding that you're part of the infinity, and it's through your connection with the infinity that you can manifest and create, just like the creator creates on this plane. That's my real understanding of the magician. It's like you have everything you need. You can create whatever you want, and whatever you know, it's emotion and it's thought and it's passion and it's money and it's health. It's everything. The other thing that's interesting about the card, I mean, I love the card, is that it has this diagonal. So I always think of it like, you know, like you're in a city and the city is on a grid, right? And I want to go from here to there. And luckily, there's an avenue that goes diagonal. So it's like, I'm going to avoid all that traffic. I'm just going to go.
Yes.
So there's this energy of, you know, it's like a lightning bolt. There's a lightning bolt energy to it. Like it comes immediately. It's like, I have an idea. And the other thing about the magician also, which really relates to your whole thing about the politics and the manipulation. And I'll get back to the story because I was supposed to go back to the story. It's very oral. The magician has the energy of I am. The magician has the energy of doing something verbally and orally that manifests immediately. Because when Moses, you know, really meets God for the first time, and he says, take off your shoes, and he goes, what are you? You know, and he goes, I am that I am. That's what Jehovah means. It means I am that was, I am that is, I am that will be. That's what it kind of means. And it's like, you know, talk about mediumship. It's like, it's this forever eternal energy that we can tap into in order to make the magic of manifestation. It's a really heavy card, and that's why
it is.
the eternity.
You're connected to the magic.
Right. Well, you are the magic.
Yep.
Yeah, you are the magic, and you're like a vessel of the magic. That's what the magician is, a vessel of the magic of the universe. It's a really, really big card, but it's very verbal. It's like abracadabra. You know, it's like abracadabra, right?
Right.
So it's like once you state, you know, what it is that you want to manifest, it's already gone out into the universe and has begun forming. It's a really heavy card. It's
also a warning that every thought that you think, every word that you say is very powerful. So be careful about what you're thinking and be careful about what you say out into the universe. It is definitely a card of warning sometimes. Just be careful. What you're putting out into the future will come back to you.
Right. So if you keep on saying to yourself, I don't want to give an example to give someone an idea. You know, I am so negative word. I am, you know, if you keep on saying that to yourself, I am so negative word. I am so negative word.
Correct.
And, you know, you're going to like, you know, bring that truth back to you because it's all bouncing.
Yes.
You know? And sometimes when you catch yourself in those kind of thoughts, instead of fighting the thought, it's like, just change it to its opposite. Like, you don't have to fight it. You just change it to its opposite. You know, I don't fight. I try not to fight. And it's like, that's not true. Actually, this is true. You know, actually, the opposite is true. And that's like the magic of it. It's like, you know, because everything has its positive and negative, yin yang aspect. And it's like, well, what am I looking at, and what am I working with, and what am I concentrating on, and what am I relating with? Am I relating with the dark, or am I relating with the light? You see what I mean?
Yep. And
So
each place that, when you're doing, say, the Celtic tarot, each place the magician landing in the beginning of your Celtic tarot, going into the question, is a lot having to do with you have thought of this in the past. Whenever time I get a magician, let's say you thought about this in the past, what you were thinking, what you were saying is all coming true. It brings you right here to right now to this
right.
question, because you have thrown that into the future. Now,
Right.
if it's underneath, it is a underneath unearthed desire of the magic that you want, but there you're paying attention to everything else except for whatever
Like the
is
subconscious, right?
the subconscious, whatever is
Right.
within. So then when it's on top, the magician is like, that you're magic. So
Right.
be aware. And then, of course, going into the future is all this hard work. Now it's going to project into the future. And here are your obstacles. Here's what to look for. Now, each time the magician, like if the magician comes out as the final thing is that it's telling me that the question at hand is a very, very powerful question, and that you need to know exactly what you're saying and hone in on what you're saying. Like you need to tweak what you're saying and what you've been putting out into the universe, with a magician. So whatever place that card is at, it also adds to the depth and the weight of the card. And if it comes back, reversed, which I do read reversals, it's also telling me that you're abusing your magic. So that's the reason why the question at hand is not coming true, or it's getting worse, is because you're abusing your power. So there's a lot to the magician, and especially in reading, using it in a reading,
right,
is really subject to the placement of it.
Absolutely. And the cards around it. Like if I would imagine, so if you pull the magician and an ace or two, it's like,
Yes.
We're really beginning now. You have everything you need. And the one, it's like, and you have all the, because it's the only card that has all of the elements. Really interesting. That's why I feel like it's a born card. It's here I am.
I never thought of it that way, but when you said if the fool is like the baby in the womb, and then the magician is that baby who magically has shown up in the world, which we know that bottom, that thinking of, this is brand new. This is the magic. You're here because of magic.
Right.
Of the universe, of everything. Hey, somebody's thought 3 years ago wanted a baby. You're here because of that magic.
Yeah, no, the whole thing is unbelievable.
Very powerful.
When you're just walking around and even seeing trees bloom, it's like, oh my God. Amazing. Look at that thing that came out of the tree. Look at that flower that came out of it's like, really? Wow.
Yes.
And we also take it for granted. It's like, this is amazing.
True.
This is amazing. And it keeps on changing. And sometimes it changes color, and then it gets bigger, it gets smaller. It's like, it feeds bees. It's like, what the? Wow. I think also, I feel like that, like this on top of his head, like the eternity symbol on top of his head is almost like your oversoul or your monad.
Yes.
Really understanding, and it's almost like your higher self being the medium, as it were, between your physical body and your spiritual self. And it's kind of always moving and changing and eternally in movement. It's really fascinating.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a very powerful card. Very, very powerful. And a very pretty card too. Some cards are not so pretty.
It is. It is. Some of them are very pretty. And I think the one thing that you were talking about, from the heaven into the earth, when that reaching to the heavens and then pointing to the earth, meaning that direct line to source, I think is also another take on that. when you were talking about that direct line and that infinity. The infinity is the moment we were born, we receive the gift of power through source, meaning that we didn't do a dang thing to get it.
Yeah.
But we sure can mess it up as we're growing, right?
Yeah,
We
no,
can
yeah, no,
block and
it's
we
a
can
free, it's a free gift because you
exactly.
are.
Yeah,
That's it. It's a free
we
gift
didn't do
because you
anything
are.
to get it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Lovely. What a
Yeah.
lovely, I mean, it's nice to actually talk about one card in depth.
Yes, I
You
think
know?
so too.
The other thing I wanted to say is like, if you're really, really just starting reading and you want to just pull one card, right? And if you want to pull one card, you know, for like a yes, no,
Hmm.
the magician's a yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, the magician is really a yes. Some
Mostly.
cards are sort of like, I don't really know. This is a yes.
Yeah. Definitely. Also, there's another thing too. If you're wanting to learn tarot, and this is how I learned it when I was younger, is I would pull one card and I'd put it in my bosom and and carry it around all day long for how long ever you want, and then ask source to explain this card to you throughout the day.
Mm.
And it really brought up, I'm like, oh, that's magic. That's the magician. That's why they're talking about that. And it really, everything throughout my day relates to every single one of my tarot cards. There's not a
Mhm.
moment that passes by that something doesn't relate to a tarot card.
Yeah.
And that's another way of doing it, as well as getting it connected to that, to what it means.
Yeah. And I've also found for myself, like the longer I've been reading, more and more meanings reveal themselves to me,
Yes.
you know, and then, you know, there'll be months I'll really be describing the magician as leadership. And then there'll be weeks or whatever, I'll really be describing the magician as manifestation. It's, you know, and it goes through phases. And then sometimes, you know, I think it's good to not be rigid
Right.
in your vision or your understanding of what a card is, because all of a sudden you'll throw them and it'd be like, oh, it means something else today, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, oh,
Yeah.
it means
Learning
something
tarot.
else. And allow yourself to, you know, play with it. It's kind of like when you're a really good cook, you know,
Mhm.
and you're making cookies or whatever, and you're really good at making cookies, and then you get to this point where it's like, oh, walnuts wouldn't hurt this recipe, or I think I'm going to half the sugar, or I
Yeah.
think I'm going to double the sugar, or
Yeah.
I think whatever it is. So there's this energy as you continue to read of really of being so comfortable with them letting them be themselves.
I agree. And well, the readers in every book that you ever read about tarot always tells you, figure out what the card means to you.
Right. Exactly.
That, yeah. So
Because that's what makes you a tarot
you a
reader,
reader.
as opposed
Mhm.
to a you know,
Somebody who has memorized what it
right,
means.
exactly.
And
Do you know how to
memorization is a great tool.
right. It's like the difference between being in school and being able to say da, 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 and then actually taking whatever subject you learned and going to a job, and it's like, how do I apply this to the job? And then figuring it out, and it's like, okay, now I know how to apply it. Yeah.
Correct. And
Practice.
memorization is a great tool. It's just sometimes it just doesn't fit in tarot.
Yeah, and tarot is for me, it's not rigid.
No.
It's not
Like
rigid.
if I picked up this one right here, where this is the magic card, I have to go off of the person who made these cards, the person who designed this card, the person who put art on this card. They meant something with it. And so this one's here is action and creation. So
Right.
when I'm reading with this deck, with this artist, with this particular thing, the magician comes up in action, it may seem like if I'm in a reading, I says, well, it looks like you need to take more action
Right.
into making your magic.
Right.
And so it's just different. So that's the reason why. And this one here is resourcefulness. So that's a different word for the magician, resourcefulness. Use all of your tools at hand. It just makes a huge depth reading when you broaden your horizons and broaden your empathic ways to read the cards. And
Yeah.
I know that Jeffrey does, because he's an incredible reader.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I was impressed the moment you read or the first time. I'm like, oh, I was very intrigued.
Thank you. That was sweet. Oh, thank you. Now I'm all embarrassed. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
You're
And
welcome.
I'm really honored, and I'm really grateful, and I'm looking forward to continuing with this series.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I know 78 readers. Perhaps I do. 76 now. I need 76. So maybe you'll come back for another card.
There you go.
And then I think after the one
recycle us.
card, maybe then I'll start doing 2 cards, So like in 30 years, it'll be like, this is the 30 card reading.
Right. You can recycle us.
All right. Well, thank